Hi, I'm Alicia Das. I got a text message from a dear friend, Jaime King, and she asked me, who built the pyramids? Was it aliens? Was it archangels? And I realized that that's a question that so many of us have, and she always has great questions. So I wanted to answer it for her and for any of the rest of you who might be interested. This, of course, is what I'm going to receive from Spirit. So all the usual disclaimers with that. I will tell you, I climbed the Great Pyramid in Giza when I was 26. And I was with a group of about 100 people on this beautiful pilgrimage to Egypt with my teacher, John Roger. And the whole trip, everybody was scheming and planning, and everybody wanted to climb the Great Pyramid. Now I don't know if that's possible. Even then it was highly illegal, but many people did it anyway. And no one had done it for the 30-day trip. And it was literally the night before we were to leave. And two friends and I, it was like that the waves parted and we went in the middle of the night, bribed many of the guards, and ended up climbing the Great Pyramid. And it was such a beautiful, surreal experience. I remember climbing up, and the stones are very high. Some are 6 feet tall or close to that, and I'm not anywhere near 6 feet tall. And it felt like an otherworldly hand was pushing me up the Great Pyramid. And we climbed up the pyramid pretty rapidly. And I remember being on the top where the capstone was. Of course, the capstone is gone. So it said there's a spiritual gold capstone. And we were at the very top, and I could hear down below, and of course the Great Pyramid is very tall, down below, two of my friends going for a run at dawn, and I could hear every word they were saying, even though they were on the ground and I was on the very top of the pyramid. That's how incredible, how celestial, if you will, the acoustics are there. And I meditate on it, and I remember just this gold filling my beingness and radiating out to the land around me. It was a very profound experience. And I remember having a very strong intention to bless the land around as best I could be a conduit of God at that moment. And then we, the guards whom we had bribed to be able to climb the Great Pyramid were yelling at us that it was time to come down. We weren't at the top very long. And when we climbed down, it was a little scary because, again, these are very high stones. So it felt like something was trying to pull me off. And I just remember praying and being aware of Spirit holding me as I was going down, which is a great analogy for our life, called, as long as we are Spirit-led, it's not always going to be easy. It's not often going to be easy. It's not always going to be safe. And yet it works out. Life is holding us. It felt like life was holding me as I went down the pyramid, even while a wind was trying to knock me off. It couldn't. And so let's receive from Spirit, who built the Great Pyramids? How did that occur? What I hear is the pyramids were necessary to anchor upon our planet that triune energy. So the silent ones, which are incredibly high beings that are bridges from the unmanifest, from pure spirit, into the manifest creation, what we can see, hear, sense. Even light is still in manifest creation. Of course, there's the light of the Holy Spirit, which is beyond manifest creation. So the silent ones are, if you could see them clairvoyantly, they look often like a pyramid or a triangle. So what I hear is the pyramids were and are necessary to anchor that triune energy, the Trinity, the Father and Mother God, the three streams that hold or that convey the unmanifest into the manifest. And the pyramids are vortexes, transmissions of that energetic. So they were always going to be built. And those who built them, who were of human origin, building them in concert with extraterrestrial and very much with archangelic energy, very much with spiritual assist, divine intervention. They saw the pyramids there, not knowing how they were going to manifest them, but they didn't visualize them. They had a vision of them. And so these evolved humans, of which there were many, and of course there are pyramids in other places other than Egypt, but right now I'm specifically talking about Egypt. And in the spirit of synchronicity, my beloved tech genius Sadi put up a picture for me to look at instead of the camera, and it is of course a picture of the Great Pyramid with John Roger in front of it. It's kind of remarkable. So these humans who worked in concert with extraterrestrial support and archangelic support and spiritual support, so that the stones, if you will, were moved with intentionality. So it wasn't just a lot of slaves, though they certainly helped, but they were moved with intentionality. They were moved with the help of extraterrestrial assist, with extraterrestrial machines, if you will, but in concert with humans. So what I'm hearing is the alien, which sounds pejorative, but it really just means foreign. The alien intervention occurred first because they were called from another more evolved planet to help our planet to evolve, to christen, to move into a higher frequency. So they came to help establish that in concert with humans, asking permission, since it wasn't their planet, and coming and serving in that way until the structures were completed. They had to be completed with human assist as well, because this was for us. They weren't just foisted upon us, even though that would have been a beautiful gift. So it was done very much in communion with otherworldly assets and, of course, spiritual support and intentionality. And I do believe that these aliens taught the humans involved to move with intentionality. Right? So that is a function of the great archangels, very high archangels, who move objects like the bus that is about to mow down civilians. They move the bus, if it's aligned with spirit, if it's in alignment with the highest good, they move it out of harm's way with intentionality. Well, we can learn to do that too, especially as we access our archangelic ancestry in a greater way, which is what my book, launching in July 2025, is about, your archangelic ancestry. So the pyramids are here both as to help keep us deeply rooted, but also for us to ascend from that gold capstone into the high heavens, to bridge the manifest into the to bridge the unmanifest into the manifest, and to be a point of illumination, bringing more mysticism, magic, and most of all, divine faith and love into our lives. So if you listen to all of this, thank you very much. I hope that was helpful. Would love to hear your thoughts about it in the comments, or if I'm sending this to you directly, then just please text me or call me, and let's keep the discussion going. How do you think it occurred? Thank you. Bye for now.